Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp's campaign is reacting to a new article in the New York Times. The article suggests that his Democrat opponent, Stacey Abrams, is struggling in that race and that Democrats are worried. Despite her high profile, she's trailing in the polls. The Kemp campaign says this: Stacey Abrams' campaign isn't connecting with Georgia voters after raising millions of dollars to hand over fist from out-of-state billionaires. Her campaign and Georgia Democrats are now mired in internal squabbling. The New York Times also reporting some of Abrams' supporters say her struggles are more rooted in sexism than any strategic misstep. Power panel now, Doug Collins, former Republican congressman of Georgia. So good to have him on board. Also good to have today David Carlucci, former New York State Democrat senator. Good to see you both. So let's start in the home state of Georgia. And is it about sexism or is it about the fact that voters aren't ready for Stacey Abrams?
I think the voters are tired of Stacey Abrams. I think that's the biggest problem down here, Harris, is look, in 2018, she ran a good campaign. She was new to most of the voters. They had not really gotten a flavor of who Stacey Abrams is. Her message resonated. She had energy. She caught lightning in a bottle, came very close to winning. But it's then what happened afterwards, I think, that has set the stage for what's happening now. She hasn't caught lightning in a bottle again. She spent 3 years complaining about the fact that she did win, but she won't concede. And then she spent a lot of time raising money, going all over the country. And then lately, in the last year, you've had her talk about, I want to be president and things like that. And I think that has disconnected her with the voters, the Democrat voters who supported her in 2018 and the independents who thought she may be a fresh voice. They've now just seen more of the liberal partisanship in her, which is really turning people away. And then they look at Brian Kemp, who's leading a state who's very successful economically right now. And I think that's what she's facing.
So she's going against the headwind of actual progress and success right now, which is always difficult for anybody who runs against an incumbent. There's a little bit of the Al Gore effect going on with her, too. So, David, why didn't she just meet the plane with the president? I'm not saying that his low poll numbers would have helped. But at least at this point, if there were any bully pulpit that the White House would throw behind her, maybe they would do it. But she shunned him.
Well, we're still 2 months away from the election, and we look at the polls.
61 days.
Yes. Kemp is leading. Kemp is leading in many of the polls, but many of them show it's still within the margin of error. And I think Doug is right that Stacey Abrams has become the key figure in Georgia. She's the most vilified by Republicans. She's who led that successful campaign for Senator Warnock, Biden winning in 2020. So she set that groundwork. But I think there is a level of sexism here. Stacey Abrams would be the first black woman elected to the governor's mansion of any governor's mansion in the United States, and only the third black person elected in the United States.
Wait a minute. The ism crowd is wearing me down as a black woman and with a black vice president.
Well,
like, you're killing me here. It's sexism, it's racism. Why can't it be some other ism like get the job done ism? That's not really a word. Doug?
Well, I think there are many isms and stigmas, and Doug and I have talked about this before.
David, look, you just got a candidate who's worth their welcome. Let's just be honest here. Her ideas are not resonating. She has spent a lot of time out of state. She came back in last year. She amplified lies about the Georgia voting law, which cost us the All-Star game last year. She just has lost her connection to the state of Georgia, and she's not catching lightning in a bottle like she did a few years ago. Let's face it, she is now a national figure, and Georgia Democrats are looking for someone who can lead them. Now, here's the interesting part. Everybody talks about Abrams being the leader. Right now, if you look at it, Raphael Warnock is the Democratic leader in the state of Georgia, not Stacey Abrams. And also that margin of error deal is pulling away. Brian Kemp is pulling away, and Stacey Abrams, you look at her crowds, you look at where she's going, she just is not connecting because they see her as using Georgia as a stepping stone, not as wanting to be governor.
Look, and confusion of messaging has also been her problem. Just to move on quickly here, David, remember the whole mask thing where she goes to the elementary school and she gets pictured, she's the only one not in a mask, like she's a queen. I mean, it starts to get really complicated if you can't get on message simply with, I'm here for you, Georgia. 10 seconds, and then we're moving on to AOC.
I think she's got a great chance. I think there's a big difference between Herschel Walker and Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp, the best thing he did was beat his Trump-backed Republican primary opponent, and that's boding well for Kemp Hannon. But I think there's still 2 months left, and Stacey Abrams has definitely a good chance, and I think she'll do it.
Okay, we'll move to this. In a gushing GQ magazine feature, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it's predicted it's unlikely she would ever be elected president. Saying, quote, "My experience here has given me a front row seat to see how deeply and unconsciously as well as consciously so many people in the country hate women. And they hate women of color." Boy, we are right back at that point. Doug, I'm coming to you first this time.
Okay, my question is she's had a front row seat to watch everything. She's accomplished nothing. I mean, let's just think about this. There's not a legislative agenda here. She comments on everything. She does great TikTok and Twitter. She's the best social media person on the Democratic side. But my question is what has she actually accomplished? Let's tear down this. She's changed narrative. She's talked about that. But again, I think that Americans are looking for people of substance on both parties. But David and I both can agree on this. We're looking for people to understand issues, who can articulate those issues and get things done. AOC is a media star who happens to be a member of Congress.
All right, we got to scoot. David, last word.
Well, yeah, I think we can all agree there's sexism. It's alive and well. Racism is alive and well. We have to beat it back. We can't blame all of the issues on that. And I think it is about substance. The president has to deliver and run on key issues. And that will be key in any presidential election.
Wow. Or we could just call her a congresswoman for now, because that's the only seat that she's risen to, and we're still waiting for those receipts on the actual things she's accomplished. And they don't have anything to do with your gender or your skin color or your hair texture. Just get the job done. Ism. Again. I'm going to make that trend. Gentlemen, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.